My name is Paul Pantone. Welcome to GEET Technology. What you just saw was a 250 kW generator with a 480 horsepower Waukesha engine. The engine was set up to run about 50% cooler than normal so that you didn't need a radiator. At the same time, it was set up to run, instead of on diesel or natural gas, it's set up to run on a waste product. It's used engine oil, transmission fluid, and many other products. The next thing we're going to show you is some of the prototype work we've done on other engines, beginning with a Ford Pinto. That only got 88 miles to the gallon. On that Pinto, as well as Suburbans and other vehicles that we've retrofit, we always started out with single blocks and we kept trying to get better and better, more improved. This is one of the models we built for a 350 Chevy with the bubbler, air management control, everything in one piece. That was excellent for farm use, but we needed something smaller to go under engines. We chose this design. This has butterfly valve at top and bottom to control the air-fuel ratio. This can also be built very inexpensively so that we can retrofit every car in America in 2 or 3 different sizes. This is the larger size for your 6-cylinder and V8s, and this is a smaller unit which would be for your 3- and 4-cylinder vehicles. We'll be showing you a 3-cylinder Geo here in just a minute, which has had a high mileage on that of 120 miles. I just showed you the air management control valve. This is mounted to a Geo Metro. This car has had a high mileage rating so far of 120 miles to the gallon instead of the 46. This mixes the air and fuel as you hit the gas pedal and push down air. Both valves will open simultaneously. The vapor is pulled from this tube all the way from the very bottom of the exhaust pipe in the opposite direction of the exhaust. The vapor for this system is done with a simple carburetor off a lawnmower. Again, only 120 miles to the gallon. We're going to show you a 350 Chevy pickup truck that is retrofit with a wooden carburetor. We call this our Woody Special.
I'm here to tell you about our Pinocchio model GEET processor. The reason why we call it a Pinocchio model is that we got a wooden box here taking place of the carburetor, the conventional carburetor of an engine. This is a 350 cubic inch engine, GMC truck. What we have here is these brass little valves. They're vacuum relief valves, and they work as the engine needs fresh air. They pull in fresh air as the gas is diverted into the engine. The gas comes from this reactor where hot exhaust coming out of the engine with cool vapors. This engine is powered by 2 lawnmower carburetors as its fuel source. The fuel vapors go down into this reactor, go against the hot exhaust, and cause the positive reaction to happen, and the GEET gas comes up into this tube, into the wooden carburetor, as we call it, air management valve, and it runs really good that way. Now that we've shown you the wooden carburetor on the 350, I'd like to show you our dealer demo unit. Hello, this is our dealer demo unit. I have Paul Mork here as my assistant, and we're going to show you how this dealer demo works. This is our bubbler. We use this instead of the phase change carburetor to atomize our fuel. Fuel vapors come up out this bubbler, into this hose, into our reactor with hot exhaust going against the cool vapors, which causes the reaction to happen, and the GEET gas comes out of this hose into this T right here where we adjust fresh air going into the engine. So let's add some sugar to this fuel tank.
I'm sure your dad told you never to put in the gas tanks.
Is this water?
Straight water.
We got some water here. engine is like Pepsi too.
What about news? How come we're not covered? How come ABC, NBC, all of these programs you see on TV, how come they're not here? Well, let me show you a typical news clip. This was filmed in Arizona at one of the last conferences we did.
Do you drink a soda to get a bit of a jolt? Well, now it seems that Mountain Dew can also give a jolt enough to power up an engine. No kidding, folks. This engine is powered mostly by Mountain Dew, along with a bit of gasoline. It's just one of the displays at the Exotic Research Conference 2000. The exhibit features many inventions like this lawnmower engine designed to run on alternative fuels and significantly reduce pollution.
Cars, being able to get 100 miles a gallon. How about semis that can get 30 or 40 miles to the gallon? Or motorcycles, where you only have to fill it up once every 4 fill-ups. We have the ability to clean up our planet. We have it right now.
If you'd like to check out these inventions, they will be at the Mesa Holiday Inn through Sunday. What do you think about that? An engine powered by Mountain Dew. Well, the week...
As you've seen on that news clip, if you look at it at the very bottom, it says Crazy Inventor. As we approached ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, all the rest of the stations, Christian Broadcasting, Discovery, all of them had the same feeling, that if it threatens the economy of oil companies and is something practical for your use, they're not interested.
Spent 6 years in detainment, right? For just inventing?
3.5 years locked up.
Yeah. Amazing. For doing what? Trying to help humanity. That's neat, isn't it? And
Well, according to the judge, I was delusional because you cannot run an engine on pickle juice, Mountain Dew, water, and the things we were doing. So even when we offered him physical proof, he said, I don't care about physical proof. If it isn't in our science books, it's not possible.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? So it's like they control the laws of physics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All law in his courtroom is made up by him.
Right.
We also have that same judge on tape during a couple of the hearings saying there are no constitutional rights or laws in my courtroom.
Right.
And there is no Bill of Rights. I do what I want, and I make the laws that I want to adhere to.
Right. Hey, Matt, what do you know about plasma technology that you're going to have to know for the growers industry, right? Soon?
Nothing. It's just that when the plasma runs out, HPS bulb or a grow bulb, it's no good, even though it'll burn for a couple more years. As long as the plasma's gone, it's beneficial to the plant. And then there's plasma and fluorescent lighting, which is great for plants. And there's actual plasma lighting now, which is supposed supposedly really great for plants. So all I know about it is the light, it's a chemical used in lighting. It's indispensable in growing.
Interesting. And then as far as hey, Paul, this is something that I've been wanting to make sure that it would not be forgotten. It's my oath to Dr. Yule Brown when I worked with him and helped him write his patents and whatnot, is that plasma technology, as you and I had both said, the fact that we could told them that the Fukushima release of nuclear contamination into the Pacific could have been literally filtered through plasma technology, that it would have never happened. And it would have all been, it would have, I mean, literally, and they wouldn't even respond to us, right? I mean, can you believe
well,
that?
no, we did get some interest from investors in the Japanese area, but when they checked with the government and TEPCO and all, they came back saying, we're not going to use it.
Right. Yeah.
They told them to mind their own business. Same thing happened down here at the spill down here in the Gulf.
Yeah.
We were told, get off their beach. They own the spill, and they don't want our help.
Right. It's amazing. And it's just amazing. And let's have a extinction event anyway, just because we're not supposed to know something, right? That all makes total sense. Don't you just love this
It's
earth?
heartbreaking for me. After 36 years of trying to get the knowledge out, no organization seems to want to do anything with it in this country. We had a church call up saying that they had huge generators at some old football stadium down in Houston during Katrina.
Right.
They wanted to know if we could, if I would allow them to use water to run the engines.
Right.
Using my technology. And I said, well, if you can get it approved, yeah. About a week later, I heard back saying, no, we cannot use water as a fuel. FEMA said if we work with your technology, they're going to kick us out of the stadium.
Right. Yeah. And well, in the meantime, that we have to realize that we're dealing with a planet of mental midgets, and yet it's like you have to communicate with them, but you can't. It's almost like their brains aren't big enough. But anyway, Matt, as far as technology, as far as Brown's gas and Paul Pantone's plasma technology, Paul, where do we start with the grower operations? Meaning, how does it fit in with the cannabis industry? A lot of people are going to want to listen to this one, guaranteed.
We're going to have to do most of this on the...
Matt, shut up.
Plasma technology, what do you think, Will? What do you think it would be useful? I'm just not familiar enough with it.
Okay. Paul, would you explain, it fits in a lot of different ways. There's more than we see yet. Meaning, this is the future, by the way, so if there is one. But go ahead.
Well, you can either make your own fuel to run generators. You can use plastic for fuel. There's a lot of different things. The areas where the marijuana especially would be growing, you'd want to have those heated areas, and you can make the heat for about $100 a year. As far as the lighting, we've talked to a lot of people that are replacing these huge flood lamps that are on football fields and soccer fields around the world, and they're putting in LEDs. They don't put out the heat, but they put out the light. Now, putting that with plasma field in the room and the right minerals, I think we could come up with something that would really be good in that field. My problem is I'm here in Kentucky where I cannot legally do any of the testing I need to in those areas. So we need to have some partners that we're working with in California, Colorado, and any state where it's legal.
Right. But how about research? Like
that's what I mean. For the R&D, we have to have somebody from one of those cities come here, go through training, and then go back and adapt it to fit what they're doing.
Right. Right. Because it's like this whole industry, I see this cannabis industry, not just opening up doorways and windows and entryways of things that have been held back by some very unbelievably, just blatant, unbelievably greedy, slimy, whatever. It's like trying to destroy planet Earth stuff. And what we're trying to do, and what you've shown the world, and of course, all great things have to be, we have to pay a price to some whatever, and we go there. But that was what we have to seemingly always go through. You should be praised, Paul. You should be honored. You should be like, my God, it's like, and instead, what do? They try to destroy us.
Well, you're going to love this. 2 weeks ago, last Sunday, I was on History Channel, but it was a Latin History Channel, filmed and broadcast throughout Central America and South America.
Yeah.
I got more calls from them in 1 week than I have all the people in the United States in 36 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're motivated. They
yeah.
want clean, fresh air. They like to have cheap electricity.
What, Paul?
You know what I mean? They just don't trust. It's you know, especially like with I run up against doubters in the cannabis industry because they're so sick and tired of hearing all the lies from all the potheads. You know, and everyone's got a son or a daughter or a grandson or a nephew or niece or something that sold their VCR or CDs out of their house or there's a pothead. You know, they just always lying to grandma and stuff. So it's like, as soon as you say cannabis, they're like, okay, well, yeah. They just turn it off, you know, but
Go ahead.
anyway, yeah, that's a real hurdle to overcome in this country. That's cool you're on History Channel and you're a big spot. Well,
they said they're going to put me on A&E next because the audience just loved what they heard, and the people down there are really excited. So down there we have corporations now getting a hold of me saying, we want to have power plants in the megawatts. How fast can you bring the technology down here? And I'm laughing going, well, I don't travel, so if you want my technology, here's where I'm at, come up and learn it. I hold classes, but I don't travel. I can't go to every point of the world. So people from around the world fly in here, and they don't care where I'm at. Wherever I am, that's where they're coming. So we're trying to get a big place set up here now where we can have at least 30 to 50 different inventions on display at the same time, where people can come in and see how to pull electricity out of the air and out of the ground, and different ways of heating their homes, so it costs $100 a year instead of $2,100 a month. We've got customers that are coming in the next 2 months that are paying up to $10,000 a month to heat their buildings.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
now I know you're. Yeah, my cousin was involved with doing research with the magnetic field, alternative magnetic field energy source.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got 14 world patents. It's Steve Paul, best power technology. He created the UPS system, the uninterrupted power source. And now I know what you're talking about. You're talking his language. You guys are way smarter than me.
I teach my technology to little kids
that
are in 4th and 5th grade. My favorite news letter that I got from a student was a kid that was 10 and his buddy, 12 years old, and they built one for class down in Palm Desert, California, and they ran it on Windex and pickle juice. That was the only fuel.
Wow.
Because they weren't allowed to bring gas into the building. So that wasn't my fault or theirs. The school rules said no gas. So when the kid said, well, here's how you start it, and here's how you do this, and the cameraman said, well, just humor us. Pull the rope like you're starting it. And when they pulled the rope, they didn't think the engine would start, but it ran. And it ran perfect.
Wow.
So if I can teach it to 10 and 12-year-olds, I can pretty much teach it to anyone.
That's incredible.
Yep.
Hey, Matt, now that you're getting introduced to this technology, and I've talked about Brown's gas, sodium hydroxide, 3% in water with low voltage, splits at 66.6% to 33.3% hydrogen oxygen. And at that range, that specific rate, when it implodes or it's like used for plasma, like when we found that it will transmute and Paul, your technology transmutes also, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Oh, you're not supposed to know that, but now you do. But of course, judges say you can't. It's against the law.
The transition of elements is caused partially by the implosion, causing the atomic structure to break down. Whenever you have an implosion, you're going to have a certain type of radiation, but it's confined within the chamber.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's self-generated. Mine is not, you don't plug mine into a wall.
Yeah.
Mine builds its own field.
That's incredible.
Well, yeah, but then the Brown's gases, for example, what we're looking at and what we've got to be able to educate our viewers here is that they need to know about this stuff. We're in an extinction event with Fukushima, people, and plus you got nutcases. These guys aren't even the level of drunk chimpanzees, but they got all the money on planet Earth. And in the meantime, and so what we're dealing with is we have to somehow take control of the 747 away from these drunk chimpanzees, literally. And the only way we can do it is to know anything. which is part of this. And we need to be able to go from this point forward, knowing about ways that we will be able to help keep civilization alive. This is a civilization extinction event. And they need to know about plasma technology. They need to know that it exists. How does it exist? It creates a base by which knowledge can go from here to help humanity survive past these events that these whatever have created all over planet Earth. Who knows why, but they have. And we, say we, it ain't us. It's not, we're not them. They're not us. We're just the people. I call us, we're the shaples that go along with it. But in the meantime, what we need to get up to speed on soon, how does this technology not only apply to helping create agriculture, cannabis, whatnot, how can it be used for water filtration to be able to clean, plasma filter nuclear contamination out of the water? And I know that GEET technology can be used for plasma filtration, right?
Yeah.
Of water, I guess. Yeah.
By turning that contaminated water into fuel,
Yeah.
and then burning the fuel in a plasma generator,
Right.
you're breaking it down to a pure element, and the
Yeah.
heavier elements are gone.
Right. Right. And then,
Wow.
hey, Matt.
You can filter purified water with plasma too. That's incredible.
Yeah. Now, take note. This is stuff that's got to be known at this time because people don't know that they can use technology like this to be able to filter water, which is now going to be all contaminated, and that filter water for what Brown's gas. You've got George Wiseman, Eagle Research. He's incredible what he's been doing. George has found that not only is the Brown's gas water 100 times more hydrated than normal, which is amazing. How does that happen? But it does. And that water itself will probably help us live 3 or 4 times normally longer than we normally do and defy that law. And then plants that grow 4 times bigger and longer, all that kind of stuff. Because it's all a different form of physics that's now being applied that we need to at this time and be aware that we can. And at the same time, it's all these mandatory. We need to know how to create a filter that filters out nuclear contamination. We need to now.
The biggest problem is we have built a system, and it's not just America, it's not just Canada, it's all the countries that work together to set the system up where universities have to make all the good decisions, and they get all the funding and all the R&D and all the equipment to do it.
Yeah.
And unless you want to play the game through their program, they're going to hold you back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sabotage everybody.
The first option there is the government gets first option to take your technology. And I'm not going to give it to them. I'm here to help mankind,
Right.
not a government.
Right.
The government hasn't done anything for me, and I'm not going to do anything for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand what you're saying because it's a private corporation. People don't know any of what they pulled off on us. As Jordan Maxwell talks about our birth certificates being notes on Wall Street. How does that work? Who's cashed in on us? You know? But
We did it. It's a small world, and it's very fragile, delicate shell here in the atmosphere in this small world. And we really need to help mankind. We need to. If everybody seems, united we stand, divided we fall. That means globally too. So we need to get together and help mankind. Each of us help mankind as much as we can. Not just their pocketbooks.
Even just talking about this is enough that it's like we are probably the only ones talking about it. So if we do, at least 1 or 2 people might catch on that in their garage or whatever they're doing. If they're a grower here in the Northwest, and they're saying, he's right. We are being contaminated. By gosh, we are. What are we going to do? Well, I saw these guys on TV the other day. This guy named Paul and Mathew and Will, and they talked about plasma technology, and it's like they did, didn't they? And they gave websites, this GEET Institute, whatever, and all this. And as YouTube stuff, you can go to YouTube and type in Paul Pantone and plasma technology, and you can type it in. Go to it's the youtube.com/GEET Institute. That's it, GEET Institute. Also, and so it's a training program. Paul, you train people to know this stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, I have people from all over the world that have come here to be trained, and then they go home and open up schools for me.
Right.
But there's only 2 or 3 people that have the guts to do that in the United States.
Yeah.
In other countries, not a problem.
Yeah. Right.
We're not having the problems in France or any place. They're saying, okay, well, we really don't want the oil companies hurt in any country, so we're never going to give you a permit to make a kit.
Right.
You can teach it, and somebody can put it on their own car. We don't mind that, because not that many people get off their lazy butt and do it. So we don't mind that. But don't start putting it on people's cars.
Even with anything, how many people get off their lazy butt and do it? You know, I mean, like even just watering pot plants or something. Crazy. Although
I didn't catch that.
That's actually a lot more, you know, harder than you think. And anyone that works in a nursery knows how hard it is to work their butts off. Farming's hard. You know, all landscaping, nursery, and cannabis and things. All right, well, hey, you guys, I better take
One of the things I want to start doing down here in the next month with nurseries and landscapers.
One second, Matt.
Support you.
One second, Paul.
Say hi.
Okay.
Go ahead, Matt.
Something.
Hey, Matt, real quick, if you get, and it's good that you had a chance now to talk to Paul. Hey, Paul, can we put in a kind of a schedule of things to further look into, maybe more television broadcast? Matt, yeah, this is important. This is like serious stuff. This technology has to be known by people soon.
Well, I'm absolutely intrigued with the technology you guys are talking about, and also I wanted to tell Paul, you know, because I don't know if he's familiar with what I've done is I've been successively breeding a strain of cannabis for 10 years, seeding itself and back crossing continuously, just with no crosses, just self-seeding, and I've focused on one trait and one trait only, and that's the ability of the plant to restore or improve short-term memory or restore treat my short-term memory disability. And in the last 10 years, I've created a new species of plant that is completely devoid of the hungry, tired, confused, and paranoid effects commonly associated with indiscriminate, noxious modern marijuana. And it's not only is it void of those effects, but it's non-drowsy, appetite suppressant, anti-anxiety, and actually improves short-term memory. And I just found out, actually, we just found out exactly what it's doing. It's one of two things. It's either mimicking the 2,8-G compounds that the human body creates that regulates inflammation, controls edema, secondary injury from brain trauma, and increases the oxygen and manages pain. There's an anti-2,8-G. These are two. The 2,8-G is the most prevalent cannabinoid that's made by the human body. Anyway, the Toby strain, there's a certain plant that is manipulating the strain to produce. It's a clone-only medicine, grown a certain way, harvested at a certain time. It needs to be incinerated, and the bud is incinerated into a small, asphyxiating amount. And what it does is it triggers the release of 2,8-G. So it's treating MS, Parkinson's, Huntington's chorea, ALS, short-term memory, Alzheimer's, lupus, arthritis, and it increases oxygen to the brain and counteracts the debilitating effects of marijuana. And it's crazy. It's brand new. So, you know, I really like what you guys are thinking. All of us in each of our respective fields pushes the envelope. Things outside the box. Things for ourselves. And with our own work. You know, we can further mankind. We can maybe in 1,000 years we'll still be here. You know, instead of extinct. Which is right now we're at the extinction course, so we got to change something. All of us. We need around gas. We need plasma technology. We need to clean up the air. We need cannabis technology and medicine, and so on and so on and so on. We need to go green, clean, and restorable, zero negative carbon footprint. All of us. Whatever it takes. But anyway, nice meeting you, and thank you, Will. I need to go. I just wanted to tell Paul, like, a lot of people don't know what they're doing. They think, oh, marijuana, you know. That is kind of the antidote. There's rattlesnake venom and anti-venom. There's noxious modern cannabis, and this is anti-venom. So it's completely different, although it is anti-depressant, and it's euphoria. But it's actually a lack of stress, a complete lack of stress and depression. And so I'm pretty excited. Hopefully we're going to be able to share this with anybody that can grow plants. Anyone that has a garden. or a 4-foot closet.
Hey, Matt, real quick, I know you got to get going. And Paul, what I'm going to say is let's put this as a kind of a thing that's too important not to think that we don't need to do more about it. Am I right? It's very
I
important.
agree. This plasma technology is way too important to just shove aside and
I agree.
Yes.
So, all right, so this is a project that's being put together. Anybody out there that's watching, maybe one or two of you if there is, and pay attention. This is important. We are in an extinction event. We need to know this technology exists. There have been people that have put down in architecture for people to say, if we don't pay attention, we won't exist. Matt, thanks.
Yes.
Thank you for let's getting this link together, getting people to like to go on spotlights to be able to have ourselves as a community know that there's remedy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, all right. Hey, thanks, Matt. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey, Paul, real quick. I know I've got to juggle microphones here. When is there a schedule of classes coming up?
No, the only classes I have scheduled right now is the one for December 1st to December 5th. It's $2,500 for anybody who wants to come in on that one.
Okay.
It'll be open to the public.
Okay.
All of the training is one-on-one, but it's $5,000 for the 5 days. It is whoever pays that comes in for a private class.
And people need to know that you have to see the technology. A gentleman up north of here, a friend of mine, Jack Cox. Jack's an incredible man, and Jack went through your class and he built the technology, and he had it, and it works. It works. I mean, you gotta say, I showed it on to AllDayLive 5 years ago. Those are classic shows, and Jack had followed everything to what you said to the point. And Jack is a former Department of Military head of transit stuff. There, he was involved with that. Was aware of how this technology could be applied to his car, and he was running his cars on it too. Meaning it works.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. My only thinking is just that we need to all start thinking. We need to start realizing and waking up that, people. It's more than just sitting back at home, thinking you're nice and comfortable. You got to take your time, even if you're on the YouTube or on you Google search. Just take the time, teach yourselves. Right? There's a lot of stuff there for people to look at. Right? Learn from.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh God, there's probably 500-600 hours of videos up there.
Yeah. So to teach yourself while we can and know, just so you know. I know you guys aren't going to go to the conventional, status quo colleges and learn about this, because they're not supposed to teach you this. No, it's only supposed to be according to the oil industry and the nuclear industry and the pharmaceutical industry and the vaccines and everything nasty and ugly and weird, and Monsanto, which will poison you with organic nanotechnology. Wonderful. We just go along with it. It's fine. You're law-abiding shaples. That's what we are, shaples. But anyway, so, hey, Paul, now I'm all fired up. I'm trying to get them fired up. They need to know. There's people out there that should send somebody from their company over. Like, if you've got a forklift company, how could this technology be known to a forklift company? Remember I had Kurt Kimball on?
One of the biggest lawsuits coast to coast here in the United States, in the top 10, are people who get permanent brain damage and nerve damage from running forklifts in buildings.
Really?
Inadequate ventilation, there's pollution, and it causes headaches and other permanent problems.
Interesting.
If forklift companies would put my technology on their system, there wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
And they'd get a lot better mileage, and you wouldn't have to go fill up as often. But that's bucking the system and bucking the oil companies. And with the 1951 National Security Act in place, signed by Congress, they're not allowed to have zero pollution or good mileage. You got to keep wasting gas and fuel. We need that money to support the congressmen.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? I know, it's just astounding, and yet they're killing the very thing that keeps them alive. It's blissful suicide.
Having a contest out there, and I get people sending stuff to me all the time. What about the X Prize? What about this? Have you thought about this? Why don't you present it here? I have tried, and over the years I've been told repeatedly, if you bring a unit here, we are going to confiscate it and put you in prison.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
So, am I going to walk in their door and say, here I am? No. You want me, come get me. But if you do, I've got 500 locations worldwide with a disc, and all of them will put it up on the internet that day.
Yeah.
If anything happens to me or my family or any of my dealers again, how to run the car on water. You don't need oil companies.
Yeah. I know, you don't. And actually, the greed is getting to a point where we can just simply say, hey, guys, I know you got to have your sex, drugs, and rock and roll and all the evil stuff that you need, all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime,
limit them to $1 million a year. That way we can get out of debt.
Well, I know that's what I'm trying to, people that are scoffing at the cannabis industry, Paul, they don't get it. It's not a bunch of hippies smoking pot. It has nothing to do with that. 9% of that industry is only that. The thing is it's called cannabis extracts and tinctures and balms and all kinds of other stuff that cures cancer, skin cancer. I know plenty of people that can vouch for that are alive because of that. And the fact is that we're dealing with a whole lot more. Hemp may be the last protein after they've killed all the life in the Pacific Ocean and everywhere else. And then what are we going to do when we don't have any trees, because it will kill the trees? Get that one. And all this other stuff. Now, people, you're only getting an early warning because most of you can't even be warned, I don't think. But the thing is that what we need to get to a point of understanding is we at least tried to let them know, and it was set forward on the record that we did, right?
Yep.
And what a hell of a job,
if
Paul.
there's a football game or a basketball game on, or I'm in town, I'm not going to get many people. They'd rather go to that basketball game or football game
Isn't that insane?
than come see me and see how to get better mileage and less pollution.
Right.
But I can't
Right.
say that. Up in Seattle, unless it's a Sonics game, they'll come out and see me. When I was in Bellingham, we had a great turnout.
Right.
TV came out, 3 or 4 scientists showed up, and they all said they had them built at home already and were playing with them.
Yeah.
So here the TV station thought they were going to put me down, and instead it backfired.
Yeah.
When all the scientists they brought in said, oh, no, it works neat. I love it. I peed in the gas tank.
Yeah. Well, if we get 1 or 2 students here in the local technology, as they're trying to phase out all technology training at the school systems here, high school and college, it's insane what I'm seeing. So in the meantime, people, as we're being subterfuged by somebody that's got an interest in seeing us be like not surviving whatever this world's about to go through, and we got to pull a fast one and say, well, not all of us are totally gone yet. We're still partly here, some of us, enough that we can even sit here on TV and actually, maybe you might think that we're only partly here. Maybe we didn't come in on the broadcast. Who knows? Maybe somebody else is trying to interrupt everything that's going on, which they are. But the meantime is we are still trying. We have not quit. You're still here, Paul. And as long as you're here, I think some of you should get a hold of him, because if the circumstances we're about to go through in this world, there's more than you can imagine that young people, like 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, who can't get jobs in the technology industry should get a hold of you, find a way to get finance to go through the classes, start learning about this technology. The way that we rebuild our economy is just that.
Yeah.
As they destroy it, we rebuild it. They're worried about that. They're hoping we won't have any ideas. They always try to kill the idea people. Always. It's nice. Aren't you guys really neat? I can't figure it out because they can't exist really without us in their own way. They know that. It's interesting. Now, the young people, if they get a hold of you, I'm sure that a lot of people need to be able to say, we need to have a way that if we got to have guidance. It's a guiding thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people just buy the small plans for $350, and I walk them through how to put it on a little engine. That's
Right.
called a demo engine. It can run on anything you put in a fuel tank.
Right.
Then we teach them how to put it on a generator and then one on a car. The problem I've had with so many of the young people that don't have any money, and even older guys, well, I'm going to borrow the money from my neighbor, and privately I'm going to promise him I'm going to put it on his house and his car and everything else if he's footing the bill. Well, that's not the way the school goes. The school gives you a license to put it on your own personal property.
Right.
The class. If you become a dealer, yeah, you can put it on your neighbor's things. And you're not getting that dealership for $350. You're not going to go in and buy a McDonald's for $350. Because whatever you're paying for the dealership at that time is not just the dealership that day, but for the rest of your life and your kid's life and your grandkid's life, getting feedback and information from all the other dealers, literature printed up for you, pictures, up-to-date videos, and new technology. So it's not like opening a McDonald's. And a lot of people say, well, give it to me first, and after I earn the money, I'll pay you. I tried that about 40 times, and I've never seen a dime.
Yeah.
So
What
I
about
don't do that anymore?
what if we start mentioning this information to a large and expanding growers industry here in the cannabis industry about that this does exist? They should start learning about it. They should know, and they should have people in their companies to become more informed of this stuff.
We have about 20 inventions specifically for that field.
Yeah. Now,
Some of that is going to need R&D funding. Most of that's going to be done through my son because he doesn't mind working with those people. I am mainly working on energy products for all of mankind, and to me, limiting it to one little field, I just haven't had that interest. We've had certain growers say, well, we just want it for crop drying. Well, send somebody in to learn it. My son and other members of his side of the family from his mom are interested in that field, so yeah, he has time, and we want to make those things happen.
yeah.
But is it my first priority? No. If you look at what my first priorities are, it would be that 7 or 8 biggest ships on the ocean today put out more pollution per day than all the cars on the planet.
Can you believe that? I know.
But there's so many people getting money every time they fill that tanker up that they can't violate their agreements.
Amazing.
Everybody's got their hands in somebody else's pocket.
Paul, if just a real quick review, we got a few more minutes. How would you use the plasma technology, for example, for water neutralization, meaning plasma transmutation of nuclear contaminated water? How would we do that? Just a real quick how would thing.
Well, you simply blend it using an emulsifier. So you're using maybe 10% fuel, 80% or 90% water, and you run that through a generator and make electricity and sell that in the grid while you're getting rid of the atomic waste. What comes out of the tailpipe is clean, fresh air.
Yeah, amazing.
But when we've approached the people who want to do things like that, and they ask for government permission, the minute the name Paul Pantone GEET comes up, they say, oh, no, we can't touch that. Nope. Let the people die.
I know. It's amazing.
The people on top fear Paul Pantone because I have too many knowledge things that could bury a lot of them.
Well,
and change their way of life where they're not billionaires anymore.
I know. It's amazing that I don't. Of course, they probably have all this fancy technology and the ability to hire.
They've been hiding things like this for 100 years.
Yeah, for them only. Right. I know. In the meantime, we're openly expressing this perspective openly. We're not hiding anything, and we're openly mentioning that it's a time where people, regardless that they have these secret societies of very wealthy, greedy, slimy pigs that think that everything's always supposed to be for them. Hey, yeah, it's what you guys are. But anyway, so in this perspective, we have a right to survive as a people in a living universe, in a living way, to stay alive, to keep our communities alive. We're committed to that. Yet, and we have to openly state that it's what we are. That's what we're supposed to do. It's our obligation to keep our.
And you haven't accepted the Georgia Guidestones?
Yeah, right. I know what you mean. I know. It's amazing. And it's like we're being told that this is the world, that this is this way. Well, they've gotten away with their Monsanto. They've gotten away with unbelievable crimes against humanity that goes on and goes on. And yet you're not even supposed to say that they did, let alone who they are. But they did, and they've been, and it's like they've tried to steal the karma of all human future, meaning to suck the future out. They sucked the karma out. They've sucked everything that what should have been, according to what should have been for us. They stole it from us. They're the Grinch, in a way, and worse.
I think it was in Brazil or Argentina where they had all those big demonstrations, and so many people marched on their government there that almost everybody in government retired and stepped down so they could appoint new people because they were trying to take away their rights like they are here.
Right.
For water. You don't have the right to have a well in your yard. You don't have the right to gather rainwater. These people now are spending, or were spending 25% of the money they earn every month just so they could drink water and get a bath once a week.
Yeah,
Is
amazing.
that where we're heading?
I know.
Most people finally put up with enough that said, "Bull, this is our water. We have God-given rights, and we want them back."
Yeah, I'm going to get paid. Thank you. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Paul. And if we're going to do something, at least one thing we can do with public access TV here, the way it's set up, is that it becomes archived and it's broadcast on FCC time, then it becomes federally copyrighted by that broadcast, then archived.
Yeah.
And then what we're doing is we're using, like this show right now, this testimony of who we are. By the way, this is now going to be a federal document, meaning it's admissible to what we're bringing out in any court of law, any jurisdiction. As Jordan Maxwell calls, ports of call everything is a port, meaning that's where we're berthed like boats. But anyway,
Yeah.
and he's right, and he's woke a lot of people up to realize that before we got here, this was something that was before we got here, and we don't know all this. It's like, how would you know? So somebody like Jordan does his work and tries to inform you by this is what it really is, but you didn't know that, but now you do. And then David Wynn Miller, Judge David Wynn Miller, and then how that works as far as going into a port of entry using the right language syntax. And he's not wrong, people. He is right, by the way. And he says when people can't read and write, it's like we don't understand this phenomena that the secret societies that take control do. And then we're just walking around, and they know we're not knowing, but they do.
Yep.
And all we can do is on federal record state that it's time that we start to know. It's time that it's not being blocked from things that are part of, let's say, are we supposed to be law-abiding suicide? Meaning, are we supposed to go along with their suicide agenda, which is what it is? By the way, it's illegal to be suicidal. But according to their agenda, it's if you go along and accept that, you're doing something illegal by eating Monsanto food, taking their vaccinations with disease and all that other crazy stuff. Ebola, financed by the Rockefeller Foundation. Hello. And Len Horowitz had mentioned this 14 years ago. Slowed them down for a while, didn't you, Len? Great job. But then they're back again. And then all this crazy, weird stuff that they put together for their agenda, their plan, what it is. I don't even think if you take them all and kind of figure out what they're all trying to accomplish, I don't think they even know themselves, personally. I don't.
Well, I believe they're just after the diamonds, and they're going to go over there and take the diamond mines. And if they have to kill off a few million Africans, they're going to do it.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean it's just. You got to understand. I can see how in a world of animal behavior, which is governed by that in a way, and it's a miracle that we built roads and houses and telephone poles and all that other stuff. Amazing that all of that did occur, that we were able to actually build infrastructure in this insane animal psychology that they are in control and create. And amazed there's anybody alive on this planet already, let alone we are still alive. And the whole idea is, since we are, and since we can still be able to create documentation record of this technology, Paul, real quick, and realize we can do a lot more of this television to create public access, copyrighted legal media. For the record.
We've tried to go on public TV,
and
they're sponsored by government, oil companies, and foundations that do not want this knowledge out.
Right.
We tried going on Christian broadcasting, and they said, "Oh, this is political. We can't get into this."
Yeah. Well, we're on. We are right now, so we're getting away with it for some reason.
Yeah.
So the classes are coming up in December, right? That they can get a hold of you?
Classes I've got another class starting this Saturday. They're private classes that are $5,000 and they're 5 days long.
Okay.
Whenever somebody wants to pay and come down. Or they have to wait till I do 2 or 3 classes every year that'll be open to the public. So the next open class is from the 1st to the 5th of December. And that's $2,500.
And it's more valuable than people realize. I can't tell you, people. You got like what Jack Cox had built, the one prototype, and it was unbelievable to see it work. I'll try and dig up that old show I did with them. But
what does it cost you a year to heat your home?
It costs me probably $500 where I'm living right now. Agenda 21
so
Beehive.
If you could do it for $100 or $50 a year, it'd be worth coming to the class. It pays for itself in a few years.
Oh, I guess.
If you can get 50% improvement on your mileage, that might make it pay for itself in a year.
Yeah.
If you look at the amount of other things you can benefit, all of them, each one of them individually,
Yep.
will pay for themselves in a year or two in their life.
How can you go wrong learning about a whole new realm of physics? How can you go wrong on that? Come on.
Well, I've had physicists come in that have gone 12 and 14 years of college that have come in saying they learned more from me in a week than they ever did in 12 years.
Yeah, I know. And they need to. We need to. We can't let this thing just slip away and go away. It just ain't going to happen.
No, it
No.
isn't based on theory. It's based on facts.
Yeah.
The theories haven't been written yet.
Yeah. I know. That's true.
But a lot of
That's true.
scientists who've come in to see it have said, Paul, this is 50 years ahead of mankind.
Yeah.
It'll take us that long to put the theory behind it.
I know. It's amazing.
We'll go ahead and write the theory later, but let's get it to the market now.
And it's like reestablish. They tried to bury the knowledge of Tesla. They tried to hide it, but enough people said, "No, you're not going to do that." They tried.
Right now is stopping Americans from having good high mileage cars. It was on the news again today, underground news. Volkswagen has a car that'll get 300 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
It cannot even be talked about in any U.S. publication. It cannot be shown on TV. It cannot be demonstrated. It cannot be brought into this country. We don't want cars that are efficient, that are non-polluting and high mileage. Good Lord, that'd hurt the congressmen and senators. For all the Harry Reid lovers out there.
It's
sorry about that.
amazing that I don't even think these characters are what I would call even. I mean, they don't fit into. I mean, nothing makes any sense about what they are and what they do. Nothing. Everything
Well,
is
they think
backwards.
They have more knowledge on how to take care of us than we do ourselves.
Yeah.
And most Americans, I hate to say this, but I'm going to,
Yep.
don't know how to take care of themselves.
I know. You're right.
They really don't.
I know. I agree.
I'm 64 years old, and some of the girls I've dated, they're 23, know more about cooking than the girls that are 50.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't know how to do anything but a pot pie and an oven or
Right.
a microwave. Great.
I know. But in the meantime, Paul, please get back to him. Get back to Paul. Learn while you can. Teach yourselves, please. Young people here, are you seeing anything around you that doesn't make sense? Like colleges shutting down metal shops and wood shops, things you work with your hands, electron. It's like what's happening? Yeah, who's going to fill in the voids when the people that carry that knowledge to do what they have to do are no longer here? Who's going to replace them to be able to keep that level, that area of our world, our society, keep it maintained?
Now,
There's no one.
Anyone out there who hears me on this show and calls in because of your show, if they mention that they heard me on your show, then I'll donate 10% of whatever they're buying back to you to help you fund your show, because you need to keep working with other inventors from around the world that you
Right.
get in here.
Yeah.
Get them on your show, talk about it.
Yeah, and also,
expose the truth.
yeah, link things to where knowledge needs to be. We need to keep people aware as while we can. People, you don't realize this is like serious. Public access TV here, they've ran for 6 months, scheduled classes no one's signed up for. And there's only about 10 of us local producers here now. People, you don't get it. And while we got the archiving now online the last 4 years, it goes out to all the search engines. It's powerful. And you create your own you can use anything that you do for a legal documentation that's archived and it's now legal media. Think about that.
Yeah.
And it's like no one's getting it. I mean, I can't believe the law firms don't get it. It's just like, I can't understand. It's like, I feel like I'm, what's her name, Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, and the house is going the wrong way.
Well, Will, you need to send me an email. I'll send you a little link here that I picked up that you'll get a kick out of. It compares patents to copyrights.
Awesome.
If you have it copyrighted
Yep.
properly, which you do with what you're doing,
Yeah.
that's good in 190 countries.
Yeah.
Then nobody can copy what you're doing.
Awesome. Yeah.
But
Look for
if
that.
you only have it patented, you have to pay patent fees in every one of the countries, and renew them every year or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And for the GEET alone, it was going to cost me $1 million.
Yeah.
International patents. Copyright,
Amazing.
about $25,000.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So copyright is the way to go. And as long
Yeah.
as you're offering that as a backup for anybody on your show that you'd be happy to copyright it for them, that is all the validation and documentation they need, as long as they can also supply you with a copy of a drawing showing how to build it.
Yes.
Then they
Yes.
have protection.
Yeah. I agree. Amazing. Yeah.
And the biggest difference between a copyright and a patent is to enforce a patent, you have to go down and hire an attorney feeding the system, and you have to take them to court. It doesn't mean they're going to stop doing it. It just means it's a court action, and sooner or later you might get damages.
Yeah.
After they've made zillions of dollars, you might get $100,000 or $500,000, but your attorney's going to make more than you do. Under copyright, you don't get any money. The government goes in using FBI or Royal Canadian Mounted Police or whoever it is. They kick the doors in. They take everything the guy's got. They throw him in jail. And you get the satisfaction of knowing they're not stealing from you.
Yeah.
So copyrights have a lot more clout than any stinking patent. Patents are only a way that the government can control the citizens.
Yeah.
You're telling us up front what you've invented and how it works, and we get to decide whether or not we're going to let you have a patent,
Right.
or we're going to just take it from you.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, real quick, what type of, just some ideas for people that might be watching that, have a patience to sit back long enough to even think that what we're trying to bring to them is a technology that can integrate with other technology, right?
Oh, yeah, this GEET alone will fit everything that uses fuel on the whole planet or in space.
Yeah.
I have 650 other inventions. So when people come down and they say, well, I really like doing art. Oh, I got 20 inventions in that field. Here, let me show you some of them. Oh, you're into furniture. Oh, I've got a bunch of inventions in that field. Oh, you're a carpenter. I got all kinds of inventions in that field.
Yeah.
Now, these people are looking at me going, is there a field you don't know about? Well, throw something at me and let's see.
Yeah.
I haven't found it yet. Whatever I want to know, I go learn.
How about colleges overseas in other countries? They are finally waking up to this.
I've got more people signing up from Russia, India, China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, South America, and Africa from almost any of those than I do U.S.
Can they use it as a tax write-off to pay for somebody to go and take the class for $5,000? That could be used as a tax
They
write-off?
were allowing that up till about 2005, and then all of a sudden, all of these different agencies, when they realized what I was teaching,